She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. I'm Dani Johnson. Today we are bringing content to you to help you be able to handle some stuff that is going on inside of your life that could be causing you a tremendous amount of stress. Addictions. It is crazy the amount of people that are in our world today, even just right here in the United States, that are battling with addictions. Now, we've done shows about addictions before, but we've not so much done like, how do I deal with that? Check out these numbers. A Pew survey was done August of 2017 that found that 46% of adults in the U.S. have a family member or close family member or close friend who is addicted to drugs. That's just drugs, hard drugs. 46%, that's like half of our population that has a family member or a close friend that is addicted to drugs. Isn't that crazy? This does not include the 1 in 8 Americans who have an alcohol addiction. 1 out of every 8 that has an alcohol addiction. 20% who have a food addiction, according to Yale University. What kind of stress or what kind of play does addiction have in your life? You might be one who has an addiction and maybe doesn't know it. You might be the one that's bringing that into someone's life. Or maybe you're on the other side. I grew up in a house filled with addicts. My aunts and my uncles were alcoholics. My mom and who I thought was my dad were drug addicts. I grew up all around this. I mean, I can only think of a couple of people in my entire family that were not addicts. I remember as I grew up, I had 2 aunts. One aunt, actually, that didn't drink, that didn't smoke weed, that didn't shoot things in her arms. She didn't do anything. She was a single mom with 3 boys. She was like my chief inspiration because she was the only one that was not abusing drugs and alcohol. It does have a play in who we are. It seems like when we have numbers this high, it's almost like we're an addicted society. When you add up all these numbers, it literally is like we're an addicted society. So how do you deal with it? What is the right way to deal with it? What is the way to deal with it where we're not increasing more stress or adding more to this addiction, but instead that we're being used as, I don't know, as an advocate for those who are addicted? We've asked this question of our audience. We've got Christina from Ohio to be the first one. Christina, what do you say about this? I mean, do you have a close family member or friend who has an addiction?
I sure do, Dani. My husband is over 5 years sober. I've lost a sister from this. And here in Cleveland, we are in one of the worst areas of the country for opioid addiction. Yeah. It's everywhere. Yeah. Everyone knows someone who died. I mean, it's just everywhere, especially in Cleveland. So I have a lot of experience around this. And, I can only speak from my own experience. Yeah. But I have found that it is a soul sickness. It is a spiritual disease. You see medical doctors just throwing their hands up. I mean, it's very heartbreaking because they'll do everything they can, but they don't, a lot of them don't know that really what's required for true recovery is a psychic change on the level that only a higher power can create. Yeah. And for me, that's God, Jesus Christ.
So, Christina, how did you handle being married to someone who, was your husband a drug addict?
It was a combination of alcohol and drugs, yes.
How many years?
In and out, lots of relapses. From the age of about 14, he first started. And when he got sober, I guess he was 32.
Wow. And he's been clean 5 years.
Yes, and I just can't even express the grace of God and the amount of change that I've seen in those years.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. How many years were you married to him while he was an addict?
We actually got married when he was 9 months sober. So we were together prior to this. but we were not married, and I knew him on both sides of the fence. And I can tell you that it is a miracle, an absolute miracle, and the true recoveries really almost always are.
Yeah, no, they really are, and they're rare. So what was it like being in a marriage with that? Did you ever come to a place of quitting? How did you help with this decision of him getting sober? Were there some hard lines that you had to draw?
Absolutely. I was struggling with my own issues too, but we broke up. I moved away. We weren't living together, but I moved back in with my parents to just have their support during that time, because it was really heartbreaking, and he continued on his way. And I truly believe that that's one of the only things that you can do is if you have offered support and there isn't much interest there in seeking real recovery, or if the relapses continue, you have to protect yourself, and prayer is your best tool at that point.
Yeah, no question. And so you drew a hard line and said, I'm not going to live like this any longer. And that hard line, do you think that hard line gave him the courage to make the decision for recovery?
Absolutely. I just see the hand of God in it so much, because there were so many things that happened during that time when we were completely apart that I could have had nothing to do with, except for prayers on the sidelines.
That's right.
But definitely knowing that what, the future was looking like and what he had lost at that point, I think pushed him in because his disease then progressed greatly right after we split for several months, and he reached a point where it was, recovery or serious problem. And that's when it happened.
So did you stay in touch with him when you left?
No.
So
absolutely no contact.
Wow. How in the world did you guys get back together?
He started reaching out after his sobriety date, after he had kind of detoxed off of medications with medical help, and was working a 12-step program at that time. And he came back into my life, and, I was really slow and steady at first. I was not sure of it.
So you weren't the girl that's just like rushing right back in and going, okay, everything is fine and we're great. Hold that thought for just a minute. I want to hear how this relationship rekindled. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to continue with more, if I could get that out of my mouth, right after you check this out. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.lindapage.com, and make a priceless investment in yourself. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
What do you do when you have a loved one that has an addiction, whether it's alcohol, drugs? Those, I would say, are the two main ones. But there are other addictions. There's workaholics, and they have the same exact symptoms that a drug addict and an alcoholic does. The difference is they're not completely destroying their body with harmful chemicals or the abuse, meaning the overuse of alcohol in the body that could just completely kill you. Workaholic can destroy your life, but it maybe won't destroy, well, it can also destroy your health with a heart attack because of stress, or bad eating because you're working all the time and not eating well. You know, so there's other ways, but I'm simply saying we're talking more about these first two main ones because so many people, so much, almost half of the population is dealing with someone who has an addiction, which is really, really heartbreaking. So we just finished hearing from Christina out of Ohio, who was married to a man, actually is still married to a man, that had a drug addiction and alcohol addiction for a large portion of their marriage. He's now been sober for 5 years. She said that she left him, moved out, did not conversate with him at all during that time, where she just put her foot down and said, we're done. We can't continue in this way. Christina, tell me, why did you leave him? Was there something, what was going on in the relationship? Was he abusive? Was he verbally abusive? Was he lying? What was he doing that forced you to leave?
You know, there were confrontations, physical ones that have nothing to do with who he is as a man, but had to do with addiction, and also where I was emotionally, because it's very much a shared condition.
Yeah, it is.
You know, and I was very sick too. And then, you know, it was extremely unhealthy, and it wasn't going to get any better, and that was it.
I'm really proud of you.
Point.
I'm really proud of you. I am. I'm really, really proud of you that you realize that this toxicity is not helping either one of you, and that you even can confess today that he wasn't the only one at fault, that you were a mess yourself, and that there's some things that you did that contributed to the entire problem and all the toxicity. What an amazing, humble woman you are to be able to take personal responsibility for your part in that toxic part. And congratulations, 5 years clean. And you're saying he's really a miracle. So how did you tell me why? Who is he today?
You know, this is a person who was raised in a atheist Soviet Union, basically just complete atheism, no family religion, antagonistic toward religion. This is someone who goes to church with me, who is so open, loving of my Christian family, interested, has a strong relationship with God. That alone
is a miracle.
Is miraculous. The amount of things that have come through, it's like I almost feel like God has a special regard for him sometimes because it's so amazing. The amount of people that have come into our lives to show an example. You know, even if you remove the drugs and the alcohol, it would not have worked out if the psychic change that I mentioned before hadn't have occurred, which comes from God, and it's just affected every area of both of our lives. Unfortunately, a little rubbed off on me too.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. I can hear it in your voice. You truly have experienced a miracle, no question. So what is your recommendation to people who are dealing with family members who have an addiction?
My recommendation is that, you know, I can't tell them what to do, but I can recommend that they find someone of the same gender, either through their church who has experience dealing with addiction, or, you know, going to an Al-Anon program for family members. They can get the right guidance. It's not about turning your back on someone in a way that you don't care about them at all. It's simply about not getting any sicker yourself to where you're harming them even more. So getting that kind of guidance and somebody that's going to be there for you on the phone or however to encourage you when it's tough, when you want to let them back in the house, whatever, when you want to give them money, to remind you. And then also, of course, seeking help from your spiritual community, if that's your church, your synagogue, whatever, so that you can have people that are praying for you, because prayer is probably one of the only things you can do at times.
It is.
Other than drawing that firm line.
Yeah. Because sometimes when somebody is suffering from addiction, they will say some of the most horrible, hurtful, terrible, traumatic things to you. It can cause you to question who you are. I've been there. I've absolutely been there. There's no feeling like that. That's someone that you love so passionately, and God is the only one that can lift that burden off of you. He's the only one that can settle your heart. He's also the only one that can guide you and walk you through the right way to walk through it. That burden is not yours to carry. But making the position that I love you and I'm going to continue to love you, and I'm not going to allow those words that the drug is speaking out against me right now to penetrate my heart and my soul. The way I like to explain is like you got a catcher's mat on top of your heart. It's like, or a shield on top of your heart. It's like, that ain't going in. I am going to protect my heart, that my heart will love, honor, and respect, and that I'm not going to allow these fiery darts that are coming from a sick place and a person who is struggling and has an addiction. That addiction is what's speaking those evil, terrible words, that toxicity that's speaking. And so as I walk through this with my mother, for example, and the man that raised me, was to love, just to love, to love, to love, to love, to love, to make that choice, even when there was hatred this direction, or cutting me off, or slandering my name, and making threats, even threats on my life, even threats against my children. That I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to love you no matter what. And this little break that we're going to have right now is a healthy one. So, Christine, thank you so much for having the courage to share your story with us. That's really, really awesome, especially because it's a miraculous testimony. It's an absolute miracle that you have the marriage that you have today, that you are the woman you are today, that your husband is the husband that he is today, and that you guys prevailed. And I love what you said, that without God, it would have been completely impossible. There's something that has to happen in the psyche in order for someone to be truly, truly set free from the addiction. So if you are in that place right now, friend, if you are in Christine's shoes, or you are the one that has the addiction, there are places that can help. There's places right in your local community. You can make the choice to make the change. It all starts with that one decision before you lose it all. Listen, you're worth it. You're worth it. Both of you are worth it. All the family members are worth it to fight for that freedom. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this. Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford. And he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com. Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word FUTURE to 484848. Get started today. Text the word FUTURE to 484848. Secure your future now.
Prior to plugging into First Steps to Success, I was a depressed, hopeless, suicidal drug addict. I had no vision for my life. I absolutely hated people, hated myself. I felt shackled by my debt, and I had toxic relationships. Since plugging in, I've been drug-free for almost 18 months. I paid off nearly $14,000 worth of debt in 14 months. I have completely restored my relationships with my friends and my family. I have a vision for my life now, and I'm actually live and not exist anymore. So I don't know if you have debt or not, or if your life's going perfectly the way you want it to go. But if not, I highly recommend you get registered today for the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging into DaniJohnson.com, we were just lost. We had no hope and light at the end of the tunnel, and we were drowning in debt. After coming to First Steps to Success and plugging into DaniJohnson.com, our income has doubled. We have paid off over $76,000 of debt in just 45 months. My husband and my communication skills have just raised us through the roof, and my husband has cut back his hours, making more income. If you want results like these, you better get to First Steps to Success.
I have been plugging into Dani Johnson for the last 8 years, believe it or not. And people say, why so long? Well, because there's a lot to do in life, and it has changed every area of my life. My business has exploded, my spiritual life has been unmatched, and my relationship with my wife and my family has just been fantastic. We've paid off over $200,000 of debt in just 2 years. We're debt-free, and I just could not be happier. But if you want to change any area of your life, whether it's your business, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your financial situation, or getting out of debt, or your spiritual life, I would tell you, you cannot afford to miss First Steps to Success. It's just been a blessing to me and my family. So I really invite you to just get online and get your ticket to the next First Steps to Success. Thank you very much.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
You know, sometimes in life we encounter certain kinds of struggles in our relationships with people that we really love. In fact, there's millions of people right this very second, due to a drug or alcohol addiction, is dealing with severe pain and maybe don't know how to do it. And sometimes we can actually cause the addiction to be even worse, and we get sick along with the one who is carrying the sickness if we're not careful. You know, it's been said, according to the National Survey on Drug Use on Health, that 23 million people need treatment for substance abuse, but only 2.5 million people are getting it. This is crazy to me. With all the opiates, the crazy rise of the opiate addictions, the amount of deaths that happen. I witnessed so many. My uncle at 39 did a crazy line of cocaine, a very pure line of cocaine on the 405 freeway in Southern California, and died of a heart attack on the freeway, right in front of my cousin. I have lost so many family members to drugs, many of them men in their 30s and 40s. My sister, 21 years old, addicted to meth, doing a drug run for my parents from Redding to Chico, California, hit a semi at 11:30 in the morning, crashed into, I had a head-on collision with a semi. Then the car, which was an old El Camino, which is a big old hunk of metal, flipped the car around and then got hit by another semi. So she had 2 head-on collisions with 2 semis. 21 years old, in a coma for a month. needles all over the bed of the car, track marks in her arms. 21 years old. This is what drugs do. I have another sister who's been an addict her whole life since she was 13 years old. She had a moment of being clean, then went right back to it. It claims lives. It breaks hearts. And we got to know how to deal with it because there's a massive epidemic going on, and we can actually make the situation worse, or we can help to make it better. Joining me now is Jessica from Tennessee. Jessica, you say that you have a sister who is an addict?
I do, Dani. She's been an addict on and off for about 4.5 years. We didn't even know that she was using because she was so well at hiding it for the first 2 years. Wow. And then she got involved with this guy who got her pregnant, and she decided that she was going to get clean. She'd already been to rehab the year before, and when she had decided to get clean, then she fell off the wagon 48 hours after being home.
Wow.
Then she gets pregnant with this guy's kid, and I kind of stayed away because I found out that she was panhandling and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. People I knew on social media would see her doing things, and they'd send me messages. So I kind of kept my distance, and I did not want to get close to this baby because I thought, if I do, then there's going to be problems. Well,
Right.
She came home 12 days before the baby was born and got sober again. And I was with her when the baby was born, and she had not necessarily drug issues when she was born. She had other issues which put her in the NICU. But, of course, when they found out that she was truthful and told them she had used during her pregnancy, CPS got involved.
Mm-hmm.
To make a long story short, for 90 days, my mom and I had to keep, like a supervisory caregiver in order for her to be able to be anywhere near her daughter.
Wow.
3 days, I found out after she got her rights back and Mom and I no longer had to be her supervisor, she got caught at Walmart. Pardon, I don't know if I'm supposed to say the name of the story, but she got caught stealing.
Wow.
And they only gave her a warning at that time. And so I went directly to the judge who had just given her her rights back, and I said, what should I do? Because I don't want CPS to get back involved. Within 3 minutes, he gave me that baby in custody.
Wow.
So I have had the baby since October. Before then, it was I had her anyways because she would just take off.
Right.
She'd just take off. And then, of course, when she finally came back home, I had to tell her that I had custodial rights, and I was everything under the sun that was horrible for going and getting rights to her kid. Anyways, we've been going through this with the on and off thing. Then in December, she decided to get clean again, and she wanted me to go back in front of the judge, and I told her no. I said minimum of 6 months, and which, would have put us into next month.
Yeah. How old is the child?
The best part.
How old is the child?
She just turned a year old, May 9th.
Mm.
And here's the best part, though, Dani. She is pregnant again with the same father. They're both addicts. And I went to him to ask him the other day if he was ready to go back in front of the judge. I figured he had started to get clean last November. Figured it was 6 months. He could go get his hair follicle, whatever. And he looked right at me and said, don't waste the money I used last Thursday.
What's the drug? Is it heroin?
It's a synthetic heroin. It's called, she told me the name of it, Opana. Opana is the name of the drug. Wow. And apparently it's an extremely hard synthetic heroin, and they use, I caught her one time, a long time ago, how they do this. They crush it down, they add alcohol to it, they burn it, and I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand because, my mother's brother, addiction runs in our family.
Yeah, same with ours.
Addicted to different. My dad was addicted to different things. Nothing that destroyed us, but just he had an addiction to spending. Mm. He had the means to do it though.
Yeah. Okay, well, hold on, Jessica. I just want to say I'm so sorry that you have walked through this. This is a horrible, horrible tragedy, and at the same time, I am so happy that you are there for that little girl. so happy that she has some kind of stability. And the thing that I'm going to say, because everything you described, I have experienced this. Like, this has been my life. It's been my whole life. And the most important thing is that you can recognize for your own heart, for your own heart's sake, and for the freedom and the heart of the child that you have influence over, is to not pity, but to love, and regardless of the choices, to not judge, but to stand firm and to do what's right. And I believe that's what you're doing. I can hear that in your voice, which is the right thing. This is Dani Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us today. Listen, on either side of this, get help. This is something that you have to have somebody walk you along with, or you will go absolutely crazy. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have an awesome rest of the day. God bless.